In this video, I'll be showing you how dopamine is the key to your success. Dopamine determines how successful you're going to be. It also determines how well you're going to enjoy life. So you can either use this to propel you to higher heights and give you success, or you can use this to destroy your life and destroy the life of the people around you. So, what's dopamine? Dopamine is a neurotransmitter responsible for motivation and drive. Whenever you feel motivated, whenever you feel like chasing your goals, you feel like you're up to something, right? That's dopamine. Dopamine is responsible for giving you that good feeling. It's responsible for making you not sad. So, someone with low dopamine. Someone with low dopamine is someone that's sad and miserable and unmotivated, because we've all been around someone that's low energy. This person is bad vibes, right? No one wants to be around them because they are always sad. They always complain. Overall, they have bad energy. So that's the kind of person people avoid. On the other hand, someone with high dopamine is someone that's motivated, high energy, and fun. Everyone loves this guy, right? He's electric. Everyone wants to be around him because he's fun, he's chasing his goals, and he's motivated. He has high dopamine. He's always in a good mood. And we all have a baseline dopamine level. Sometimes we do things that spike our dopamine. So we all have a baseline dopamine level. Sometimes we do things that make us super excited. It takes our dopamine level high. But there's a problem. The problem is, whenever you spike your dopamine, it falls back below baseline. So if you do something that's so fun, something that makes you excited, something that makes you over motivated, right? You get motivated, but after a certain period of time, you crash. So it's like sugar. Whenever you eat sugar, right? You eat a lot of sugar, you get high energy, you're motivated, you can bench press anything. But after a few hours, you crash back and you're low energy. So that's how our dopamine works. Constantly spiking it gives it no time to replenish. So our dopamine is like a battery. Whenever you spike your dopamine and it crashes, it needs time to go back to baseline. It needs time to replenish. So think about your dopamine as a battery, like the battery to your phone. Whenever you use your phone, it goes low. It needs time to recharge and get back to normal. And whenever it crashes, it leads to depression, no motivation, low energy. It leads to sadness. So we always want to be here, not here. Here is where it crashes, and here is where it spikes. We always want to be at baseline at least. Also, dopamine reduces your ability to enjoy stuff. Think about the first time you watched porn, right? You opened up the website and you saw a man and woman making love. Beautiful. It was something something nice, right? But then again, the second time you watched porn again, the third time you watched porn again. With time, you start becoming numb to a man and woman making love. So now you search up threesomes. Now you're watching two men and a woman, right? Because your dopamine has constantly crashed, where you need more stimulation. A man and woman making love isn't enough anymore. You need more. Then the next time you come to watch porn, you watch anime porn, because you're always looking for something new. And that's why we have a lot of weirdos everywhere. That's because they've constantly spiked their dopamine and they've had multiple crashes, and that's why they are addicted to porn. You never ever want to be that guy. The same applies to doom scrolling. You've spiked your dopamine and had multiple crashes where you do not give it time to replenish. So you always need stimulation. You always need to be on Twitter. You always need to be on Instagram watching reels. That's because you've not given your dopamine time to replenish. So, how to not deplete your dopamine? Firstly, avoid cheap sources of dopamine. Firstly, caffeine. Caffeine is a cheap source of dopamine. It gives you constant energy. That's why whenever you don't have your caffeine, whenever you don't have your morning coffee, you feel you feel bad, you feel sad. That's because your dopamine is here. So you need to stay away from your caffeine, stay away from your coffee so it replenishes. Other cheap sources of dopamine are video games, TV, pornography, recreational drugs, right? Those are cheap sources of dopamine because you don't earn it. You don't earn any of these things, right? It's easy to access. It's easy to access porn. It's easy to access recreational drugs. It's easy to access caffeine for for energy and focus. You need dopamine for your goals. Remember, dopamine is a neurotransmitter responsible for motivation and drive, and you need motivation and drive to be able to achieve your goals, to be able to go outside and impose your will and get what you want out of life. You need your dopamine to be at baseline, at least at baseline or higher than baseline. You do not need it to be below baseline, right? So avoid the cheap sources of dopamine. How to increase dopamine baseline the right way while avoiding crashes? Firstly, exercise. You need to exercise. Exercise has been proven to increase dopamine baseline because remember I said this is the baseline. So exercise increases the baseline. Do you understand? Exercise increases your average overall mood. Most guys that exercise, they are always in a good mood. They are always fun as compared to guys that do not exercise. Secondly, sun exposure. The sun is not bad for you. You need to be under the sun as often as you can. Whenever I wake up, the first thing I do is go out for a walk, get some sunlight, even if there's no sun, but just go out to some light. It's good for it's good for your mental health and it's good for increasing your dopamine baseline. Also, vitamin D is very important for your dopamine because it makes you feel good and increases your dopamine baseline. So get sun exposure as often as you can. Exercise, sun exposure. First thing you do when you wake up in the morning, go out for a walk, get some sunlight. Thirdly, cold exposure, cold showers, right? Cold showers have been proven to improve your dopamine baseline. And good sleep. Good sleep is very, very important. At least 7 hours of sleep. I usually get 7.5, 7 hours, 30 minutes of sleep every single day. It increases your dopamine baseline. Think about any guy you know that doesn't get enough sleep. He's always sad. He's always unmotivated. You can you cannot chase your goals when you don't have enough sleep because you won't have enough dopamine to have motivation to chase your dreams and to make shit happen. Also, meditation. Meditation has been proven to keep your dopamine baseline level because when you're meditating, you're not doom scrolling, you're not constantly spiking your dopamine and having crashes. So, meditation is good, exercise is good, Sun exposure is good. Cold exposure is good. Good sleep is good. And avoid cheap dopamine. Very important. Any kind of dopamine, any form of dopamine you can get easily, avoid it. That's it for today. Hope you got something valuable out of this video. See you in the next one.